sea and how nothing's going to... Oh, shoot.
Well,
I can edit that out. All right. 1, 2, 3. All right, friends, we're back.
welcome back. My name is Leah Palmer. I am your bright, sparkly, happy little fairy.
And I am Tony Toon. I am the great and glorious Walrus. And California is about ready to sink into the sea, and nothing of value was lost.
Yeah. There's actually a myth that California there's a Native American myth from the California tribes about the state falling into the ocean.
I didn't know that was actually a myth. I just know that was at San Andreas Fault, and they theorized that if a big enough earthquake happened, it would break off. And some people say it might float, some people say it might sink. So
it depends on the area you're in.
Yeah.
These particular quakes did not happen on the San Andreas Fault.
Yes, they were a little bit more inland, weren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
And they were fairly good sized for California, 6.4 and a 7.1.
Yes.
Though as of this taping, it's been about 3 days without a large earthquake. They are still experiencing aftershocks.
Mm-hmm. I know when. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I know when the 7 point, because I don't know a lot about earthquakes, but they had those middle six ones, and then they had the 7.11. 7.11. And
you're speaking of the
big
Northridge quake and the Loma Prieta quake.
Yes. And there was significant fears of a 7.8 whereabouts. And the way I understand the Richter scale, like let's say you have a 5.0 earthquake, the difference between a 5.0 and like a 5.5 isn't that much, but like the Richter scale, the further it's like an exponential.
Right, each point goes up 10 times from the one before.
Yeah,
so
it goes like that.
A 5.1 is 10 times more powerful than a 5.0.
Yeah. So a 7.1 to a 7.8 is
huge.
Yeah, it's a significant jump.
Right, it doesn't sound like much, but the power and the energy release is significant.
Yes.
And there is still the possibility, because these were not on the San Andreas Fault, which means that as the smaller fault lines around where these quakes kind of settle out, you're still building tension on the San Andreas, which hasn't gone since...
it's been about 20 years, I think.
The Northridge quake.
Yeah.
Which was a 6 point... I can't remember off the top of my head. And then, of course, the Loma Prieta quake, which was the 7.1, that most people refer to as the World Series quake.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Which was in 1989.
Yeah, that was several years ago. And they're due for, quote-unquote, the big one. And even though, obviously, I'm making jokes, obviously it won't be a good thing when we get rid of that liberal state. But anyway...
Well,
I can't help it, okay?
So be honest, Tony. I wish I had a map in front of me so I could show you.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, so when we talk about everything west of the San Andreas falling off into the ocean, that's not the entire state of California.
Yeah.
We'd still have the Silicon Valley. We'd still have parts of the wine country. We'd still have Northern California, north of Eureka.
Okay, well, we can always burn Silicon Valley down to the ground.
But should the western half of the San Andreas fall off into the ocean, or have a significant quake that separates the two fault lines, the damage would be enough that it would take decades to recover from.
Oh, yeah, obviously. No, I mean, they had that big earthquake back in the 80s, and it took them about a decade to rebuild everything.
Well, that was the Loma Prieta quake.
Yeah.
I was actually in California for that.
Oh, yeah.
It was not fun.
No. I lived in California briefly, so I can make fun of California. Okay, I get a destroy California pass.
Okay, that's fair. And if I remember right, you told me you were in a not so good part of California down by the Navy base in San Diego.
Well, San Diego is perfectly fine.
Oh yeah, San Diego's a beautiful city, but
Yeah.
there are areas down there where you don't go by yourself.
Oh yeah, like a little bit outside of the Navy base wasn't that bad. Um, you could get into some dangerous areas, but it's nothing compared to like L.A. But and went to LA a couple times. God, that it was fun, but man, I would not want to live there.
Well, it's gotten worse since.
Yeah, just
I mean, I think we talked about the homelessness issue
Yeah.
at one point.
I mean, it was that was back in it's like in 08, 09 when I went a couple times, and I liked the Hollywood walk. Judge Judy has a star.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Judge Judy can get a star. I can get a star. It's my ultimate goal in life.
We need more than 7 subscribers.
I'm working on it.
I know we are. However, one thing I think we should bring up on a serious note as we're talking about these earthquakes, natural disasters in general, whether you're on the West Coast where you're going to have earthquakes, in the Midwest where you get tornadoes, or on the East Coast where you end up with hurricanes. We actually have several fault lines running through the Midwest. Including the I can't remember the name of that fault line right now. Runs right under Nashville.
Well, Indiana has had a couple earthquakes recently, not too long ago.
Emergency preparedness is a thing. And again, not talking about, oh my god, the world is going to end.
You don't need to build a bunker. Although that's cool.
You might, but we're not going to get there yet.
Yeah.
Everybody should have an emergency preparedness kit.
At least a couple days worth of supplies.
I'd say they recommend a week's worth of food and water and 7 days of any prescription medications you're on. A first aid kit, some extra clothes, and a sleeping bag and a tent. Put that all in what is referred to by
A bug out bag.
preppers as a bug out bag. Not a bad thing to have just for your average standard person, whether you're prepping for a local emergency like the earthquakes in California or a grid down scenario that a lot of them like to talk about.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that's the most likely situation if something like that happens. It's just something you go off the grid for a couple days. Something like that.
Right, because we've seen it already this year with the earthquakes in California, the tornadoes here in the Midwest, the flooding in Nebraska and Iowa and Indiana. All of these severe situations are really things where emergency preparedness is a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And learn basic skills like basic first aid, especially CPR, the Heimlich, basic bandage application.
Your local Red Cross should be able to run you through some CPR classes.
It's been a while since I've done CPR. I think I'm still certified. I don't know.
I know my certification expired a long time ago.
I had to redo CPR for when I was a security officer there in the casino. I think I'm still certified. I don't know. I've gone through the training enough times that I could do it if I needed to. But thank God for Good Samaritan laws in case I fuck it up. Watch it happen.
Don't mess it up.
I fuck it up. Someone finds this video, then I get sued.
Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up.
No, it's not that hard. Just
it's the placement of
Yeah.
where your palms go.
Yeah.
Because if you're even just to one side or the other, you're going to break a rib.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to break ribs regardless, and most people don't understand that. If you're
Yeah,
doing CPR or you've had CPR or going to end up have CPR done on you,
Something's going to break.
Ribs break.
Yep.
And people don't understand that. It's a matter of the extent of where they break and how they break. And if you're in the wrong position, you could take one of those broken ribs and shove them through a lung and make the situation worse.
That's true.
So I highly recommend going to your local Red Cross and seeing when they're doing their CPR classes. It's generally a weekend training, 2-day training, if that.
It's not very hard. But anyways.
Yeah. Anyways, I think that's all we've got. Just be careful out there.
I don't have anything else.
Right. Things are getting a little rocky. Pun intended.
See y'all later. Like, subscribe.